business that I do. And so I'm going to be trying to discuss with us to understand what we think about climate change, what the depth of our information about the subject and how that affects us locally in Nigeria and also globally. So thank you very much. It wouldn't be bad if we could get to know some of you. So maybe one by one, you can unmute your mic and introduce yourself and your school, and then we continue.
I am Adelabu Kende from Dogion Junior Grammar School, Ikorodu.
You're welcome, Ms. Kende.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I am Temo Olainka from
Lagos.
Junior Grammar School.
Good morning, Tomiwa.
Good morning,
Hola.
everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. I am Alabi Olanike from Majidun Junior Grammar School, Ikorodu.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Salami Idiat Adejoke from Kemebalogun Senior College, Ibeshi, Ikorodu.
Good morning, ma.
Good morning, sir. My name is Adene Rashid Olontosin from Orusuna Model College, Ikorodu.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Olamide Folari Adiola from CMS Girls Senior Grammar School, Bariga.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ajibola Oluwatosin from Aidere Junior High School.
I can talk. Good morning, Mr. Ajibola.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, my name is Abdul Titaibat Olaitan from Morelia Senior Grammar School, Igbogbo, Ikorodu.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
I'm calling Felicia Olayinka, Agbede Senior Grammar School, Ikorodu.
Good morning, Miss Felicia.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. My name is.
Please let's allow Mr. Oyenuga speak, please.
Good morning. I'm
Good
Mr.
morning.
Oyenuga. I am Mr. Oyenuga Mushafa Waderotimi from Ipakudu Senior Grammar School.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mrs. Adeyemo from Lanre Awolokun High School.
Good morning, ma.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good
My
morning.
name is Folashade Ojomo from Ifelodun Junior High School, Okeapo.
Good morning, Mrs. Folashade.
Good morning. My name is Mr. Odunsi Akim Kolawole from Ifelodu Junior Grammar School, Okeagbo.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm Babalola from Maya Community Senior Grammar School.
Okay, good morning, sir. Yeah, Mr. Adeleke. Please, if you're not speaking, you can just mute your mic. Thank you. Is that all?
That's
If
not
so,
all.
okay.
That's
Okay.
not all.
Okay.
I'm Mr. Banjo from United Senior High School.
Good morning, Mr. Banjo.
Okay, please, if you're not the one speaking, please mute your mic, please. It's difficult. I might now end up muting the person talking. So please, if you're not speaking, mute your mic. Please. Thank you. Okay.
Oh. I guess we can. I guess.
I am
okay. Good morning,
Ibrahim from Koshope Junior College.
Good morning, Mr. Ibrahim. All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you for introducing yourself. I can see some people have their hands. Okay.
Yes. It's still Mr. Banjo speaking.
Yes.
Mr. Facilitator, I had expected that one of our staff at the district level should be on board.
Good morning, Olubode.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am. Mr. Banjo, please, can you repeat yourself?
I said I had expected one of our officers from the district to be on board.
Okay.
From co-curricular science and technology.
Okay. All right.
Yes, he's on the WhatsApp group and he's aware of the link, and he has even reached out to me. He said some people said he couldn't join. So I don't know why he's not here. He's on the WhatsApp group. On the WhatsApp group, he's there, actually. So,
okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so
good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Bakari Saidat from United Junior Ikorodu.
Good morning, Mr. Saidat. Mrs. Saidat.
Yes.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Mrs. Olugbode from Lower Senior High School.
Good morning, ma. You're
Good
welcome,
morning.
ma.
I am Mrs. Onikose from United Senior High School. Good morning.
Good morning, ma. Yeah. Good morning.
Omotola Ibironke from Rary Junior Secondary School.
Good morning, ma. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
My name is Miss Akinwande Osayemi from Yewa Senior Grammar School.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, I'm Mr. Adeoye Olajumoke from Koshofe Junior College.
Good morning, ma. You're welcome.
My 12.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Ajayi Ashegun David from ISU Junior Grammar School.
Good morning, Mr. David.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yeah. So I think we should move on. Thank you. For those that have not been able to speak, please maybe at the end of the class, we can also get to know you. I can see some hands raised. I hope it's not a mistake. So before I start, please, if you have your hand raised, Mrs. Adekemi, please. Is there something you want to say before we start? There is also Mr. Bakari. Well, anyways, as I mentioned earlier, my name is David Doni, and I'm an entrepreneur. And over the course of my career, I have been involved in some climate activities. I was part of Save Soil, which is a global movement started by Saj Guru to help restore the soil on the earth. So there is a presentation here for me to go through, or everybody can see presentation and read it. So before that, I just want us to have a conversation about climate change, for us to understand, the situation we are in, as a species on Earth. So generally, what is climate change? Climate change simply means the change in pattern of climate in a given area, right? But the climate change that we are having this conversation about is the artificial climate change, which is climate change that is influenced by human activity. Essentially, almost everything we do as human beings, produces emission, produces carbon emission, produces methane. I'll give you examples. I'm guessing some of you are running generators in your house today. You are polluting the planet. I am assuming that we go to stores and we buy food stuff and we buy different things. All of those goods have been transported there by burning fossil fuel. We travel, we even buy electronics. This computer I'm using, for example, was mined, and the process of mining also creates waste. So essentially, almost everything we do on Earth has an effect on the climate. And the major sectors that are affecting the climate are agriculture, because we produce a lot of we cut down a lot of trees to produce a lot of grains for our animals, and when our animals also use these nutrients from the food we feed them, They produce methane from their waste. Please mute your mic, please, sir. Thank you.
Chief, I think you can mute all at this point.
Okay. I will do that. As a
Facilitator, please unmute yourself. Please add mute over. Please unmute yourself.
Thank you. Yeah, so almost everything we do creates emission. So the idea of climate change is not excluding anybody because it affects everybody. If you like, you know about it. If you like, you don't know about it. The effects are real. In Nigeria here, we have countless situations where we have experienced climate change. For example, for those of almost everybody is in Lagos, you will notice that in the past few years, Lagos has been very hot. You just come out and say, what's happening? This place is just getting hotter and everything. You know, there's more humidity. This is a result of climate change. In fact, during a Harmattan period, we hardly experience Harmattan at all now. That is because of climate change. And also as a farmer, I had experience once where I planted tomatoes on about an hectare of land and my tomatoes were doing well. And then all of a sudden, it did not rain for 2 weeks within the rainy months. And that destroyed all of my crops. So that's an effect of climate change. In Port Harcourt and the areas where we are extracting oil, there is oil spillage everywhere. There is soot in the air. Like when you look at your window now, you see dust, brown dust. In some areas, it is black dust. You know, people are eating fish that are eating oil in the rivers. You know, in the north, we have a lot of desertification. The desert is encroaching into the land. A lot of cattle headers don't have grass anymore to feed their cattle. Cattle are moving down south, you know, and creating all sorts of clashes between the herders and the local communities where they are invading, if I were to use that word. You know, so we might be where we are and think that everything is fine, but no, even in our country, there are countless cases of climate change in our environment. Overlogging, people are going to the forest every day to cut wood for us so we can build our house and furnitures, and they are not planting new ones, you know, and this has devastating effects. An example is, I don't know if we all heard of the news that happened in Pakistan last year, where there was a flooding that displaced 30 million people. 30 million people did not have houses. That is the scale of what can happen. And this is not even the worst forecast yet. You know, in the past 5 years, we've seen more disaster, more weather-related disaster happening all across the world. In Nigeria, here too, there was flooding, you know, which was caused by the dam that was released in Cameroon. That is also part of an effect of climate change because we were unable to manage the excess water that was coming our way. You know, so these are examples of climate change effects in our environment here. I would also like to open it up for any parts that I have not picked on. You can just tell me what you think causes climate change. I would like to know. Thank you. Anybody? Let's just take 2, 3 people who answer. You know, I've mentioned desertification, I've mentioned oil spillage, I've mentioned transportation, I've mentioned energy. I'm running Gen right now to be here, and I'm also adding to the carbon emission in the environment. So any other thing, anybody, there are a lot of things that are happening. So it would be nice to hear from you guys.
Hello.
Yes.
Good morning.
Mr. Hakim. Yes.
Yes. I think burning of bush.
Burning of bush, yes. Yes, you're correct, sir. Yes, burning of bush. One, when you're burning the bush itself, would create carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. And 2, when you clear the land that you're burning as well, it exposes the land to erosion, you know, which kills off, which kills off the nutrient of the soil, and then the soil capacity to regenerate will reduce. So that is a very good example.
I have another one.
All right, I'm here.
Burning of refuse that should have been disposed of properly.
That is correct as well. But burning of refuse too, there are a lot of waste that is being produced. Even in Nigeria, it's worse because we don't separate our waste. We are not separating wet waste from dry waste. So everything together will produce methane, and would also expose the chemicals that are in all these products that are disposing into the atmosphere. So that one is not even only for the climate, it also affects our health directly as well. That's a good example. Thank you. Let's take one more.
Dumping of this bottles, plastic bottles on the ground, in on canals, in
yes,
thereby causing flood whenever it's raining.
Yes, you're correct. You're correct. Where that is sanitation, we not managing our waste properly, causes more issues for the environment, to clog our drainage system and spill into the roads, affects us big time. That is even a big deal. And whenever it's also floods, when there's a lot of rain, part of the reason why some areas in Lagos is flooded is because our drainage systems are not working. So thank you. Another big effect of climate change is currently right now.
Please mute.
Can you mute yourself, please? Thank you. Or can you, Felicia, you can mute everybody. I will mute myself. So, all right, thank you. Yes, so there is currently right now, the earth is warming more than normal. And there is the Arctic, where is a part of the earth that is completely filled with ice. So imagine a land as big as the whole of West Africa, completely filled with ice, right? And as the planet melts, the ice melts, as the planet heats, right, the ice melts, and that is increasing the volume of water in our ocean. This is why we are experiencing for example, people that live around the coastline, they will say Bar Beach is vexing, is coming closer, is destroying properties. This is a direct effect of climate change. It is estimated that if the whole of the ice cap should melt, there will be about at least 5 meters of sea level rise. That means everybody in Lekki down to VI, in fact, to some part of mainland, are going to be using canoe to go to their house. That will be millions of people displaced, in Nigeria alone, not to talk of the world. So climate is a big issue. I think it's the biggest issue of our generation. And if we are unable to react to this problem on time, if we are unable to adapt to the changing times, this might, cost us our civilization. So now to talk about what are the things we can do, to improve the climate situation. What are the things we can do to reduce our carbon, So, for example, you guys are tutors and you are training Nigerians. I don't know if I should say future leaders because our leaders are still there. But we are training people that are going to own businesses, people that are going to be working. And it is important that from their young age, they have the mindset. It's a mindset we're trying to communicate. They have the mindset of being mindful of the environment, being thoughtful to think of solutions that helps the environment. Virtually every problem that we have today concerning climate that is producing greenhouse gas has a solution. That is reducing greenhouse gas, or at least it's at a net zero. The amount of carbon the product saves in its lifetime is equal to or greater than the amount of emission used to produce it. I hope you guys understand. So I give you an example. Now there are electric cars. We have cars burning fuel every day and diesel, polluting the environment. But now the industry is shifting to electric mobility, which means from your house, if you have solar on your house or you're connected to the grid, you can plug your car and use it without a drop of fuel. So this is one of the solution to transportation. When it comes to aviation, aviation too is a very big polluter. And when it comes to aviation, we have thousands of planes flying every day, producing a lot of carbon emission. There is the plan to turn that into hydrogen-fueled systems. And what I mean by hydrogen-fueled system is water is oxygen and hydrogen. When we split water, we isolate the hydrogen, and hydrogen is a fuel that burns emission-free. So the byproduct of hydrogen is water. So when we use solar energy, for example, to produce hydrogen, then that hydrogen is clean energy. But if we were to use coal to produce it, then it is still producing emission. So when we look at renewable sources of producing hydrogen, it is possible to decarbonize the aviation sector. So that is transportation. Let's now go to food. Today, I tell you, our oceans are in trouble. Every fish, catfish you buy, every chicken you buy, there is a percentage of their feed that is being produced from fish meal. And this fish meal is fishes that are still small, growing in the ocean, that are being moved to produce food for us, to produce food that our food we eat. You can see, the levels that goes into. And that is really affecting the ecosystem of the ocean. If the ecosystem of the ocean were to collapse, life on land will follow as well. So part of the solution for that is, using our already generated waste, bio-waste. When I mean bio-waste is the biodegradable waste, waste from kitchen, waste from animals, waste from food, anything that can rot is bio waste. We can use bio-waste to create animal protein by farming insects. That is a solution to stop packing fishes from the ocean and destroying the ocean ecosystem. We can use waste, we can repurpose waste plastic into other forms of plastic, into tiles to build road, into roofing materials. So there is a lot of solutions for virtually all the issues that we have with the systems and processes we use to produce our equipment and things we use. But I would now say, what is the main problem? Since there is solution, what is happening? I want to ask people, please, maybe 3 people should answer. What do you think is the problem? When we already know what our problem is, and we know what the solutions are. So why are we still having this climate thing as a big threat to us?
Can I go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead, Mrs. Felicia.
Okay, I think people need to be educated on the effect of climate change. We want to encourage jingles, adverts, flyers, showing the bad effects of climate change. So when people are aware of what the consequence will be, definitely they want to change. And the government should be able to enforce laws and regulations regarding the use of products that will spoil the environment and cause problems for us. It's just education generally. People need to be educated more.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mrs. Felicia. That is beautifully said, because awareness is important. People are too worried about what to eat, that they are not worried about how the food is produced. So we need to give awareness. What you're doing, what you'll be doing to your students is giving them awareness as well. That is the number one important thing, is to get people involved, to get people emotional about the environment, because we depend on the environment for everything that we have. And there is also the idea of, you know, the sun will always come up, everything will always be fine, God is in control, you know. Yes, I want to believe so, but at the same time, if God is controlling something and we continue to destroy it, I hope God will not be tired of controlling it. You know, so let's take another one. So any other opinion?
Can Mr. Banjo speak?
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Okay. There is also the need for sincerity of purpose and political will on the part of those in government. They are not being sincere with, yes, there are laws, like the earlier speaker said, there are laws. In fact, we have more than enough laws in place, but are we really enforcing these laws? Do our leaders have that sincerity of purpose to uphold these laws and ensure it works? That's another big question, apart from the orientation of the mental set. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. To emphasize on that, you know, when we call people leaders, there is a reason, because they lead the masses, they lead their followers. And when our leaders don't have clarity of goal, when they don't have purpose, then there is very little anybody else can do, because we don't have as much resources as the government. We don't have, we don't have the resources to push out information or to make changes as much as our government. So that is very important. And this now makes it more challenging for us as a society, because this is where the power rests on you, the educators. Because if we have government people that don't even care about human beings, talk less of animals, not to now talk of the planet itself, then we know we are in a big dilemma. So I think this is why we should take our job here very serious, because it is very important and we can actually affect change. Please mute yourself if you're not speaking. Nokia, C20, and anybody else. Thank you. So Mr. or Mrs. Bakari, your hand is up. Do you want to add to our conversation?
Another thing we can do is to reduce the use of fossil fuel and adapt renewable energy, such as the wind and solar energy, so that the use of all these fossil fuels and petrol that causes, all this nitrous oxide can be reduced into the atmosphere. So if our government researches can be made to bring in wind energy sources and solar energy sources. Thank God for solar now. A lot of homes are now, turning to solar energy, but more awareness needs to be done to emphasize and make more people, in fact, if possible, everybody in the country turn towards that. I think that's another way we can reduce climate change.
Thank you. Well, you did not answer the question directly, because my question was, we know what the problem is, we know what the solution is. So why are we not doing the right thing? That was my question. But thank you anyways for your contribution.
Sorry, only for 1 second. So I announced that I will be dropping a form. Sorry, it's coming late. So I'm going to drop the form now, just because you're supposed to fill it before the class. It's an evaluation for before and after. So it's a Google form. You can still fill it while you're still in class. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, please, can I make a contribution? I'm not a teacher, sorry. Okay, so I also think that when people should also consider long-term causes of their, for example, businesses, because I think we are becoming a society where we are very money driven. We are desperate to make profits. And sometimes some of these businesses we do have very serious effects on the climate, but we really don't care because maybe it's not affecting them directly and they are just thinking of money. So if people can be conscious while creating businesses, that okay, this business I'm doing, as much as I want to make profits, what is the long-term effect of this, my business, on the environment? So more like putting more consciousness into choosing or creating businesses. Thank you.
I am very pleased to hear that. In fact, that is the point that I am driving at, and which is money. Money is our problem because people prioritize the need to acquire money ahead of any other need. And this is the same reason why our governments, not even our own government, our government are not even ready. The governments of the big countries in the world are slow at responding to the climate crisis. It is because of money. Because those businesses that need to pivot or change their business model are simply too rich, and they feel like, you know what, let's just continue doing this thing. When everything is spoiled, finished, we would solve the problem. You know, money is the greatest issue. So this now leads to what are the ways with which we can teach people and let them know that it is possible to make money at the same time also help the environment. You know, that will be the challenge that we have to do researches on our own too after this class, you know, to see that, okay, these are ideas we can communicate to our students to prepare them for the future, because the future has to be zero emission. That's the only way we are going to have the future. Yes, so thank you. So now I want to just give few examples of solutions that are out there. Not few, maybe as much as I can think of. So when it comes to energy, like one of our participants just mentioned now, solar. Solar is a very, very good solution because the sun is always shining every day, and we can capture energy. In fact, the amount of energy the earth captures from solar is enough to power everybody's home for 100 years. That's the amount of energy we get in a day, you know. And aside from solar, there's also geothermal energy. Geothermal energy is a form of energy that is extracted from drilling into the earth. So when we drill into the earth to where we are getting to molten lava area where it is very hot, you know, water is pumped into that place, the drilled hole, and that water turns to steam and comes out. So that steam that it has turned to now will now be used to power a turbine to produce electricity. That is a very, very powerful solution for energy. We have countries in Iceland doing this because their geographical location makes it easier for them to get to that part of the earth that produces heat. Then there is also biogas. Biogas is gas, this methane that is destroying the environment when we pour our bio waste outside in the dump, our waste from kitchen and animals. There is gas coming out of that, which is called methane. So this methane now can be trapped, you know, and used as cooking gas, and can be used to power generators as well. So that is another form of solution that can reduce our dependency on coal and on petrol to produce electricity. There are lots of biogas stations in Europe, you know, and in America. And then there's also nuclear energy. So nuclear energy is energy produced from fusion process where they split atoms. So when they split atoms of, there's a particular element that is being split, I think it's uranium. When they split the atom of uranium, that process produces energy. That energy is used to boil water to turn turbines. So this is also used there. Then there is danger associated with nuclear energy. That is why a lot of countries are trying to shut down their plants, but we are still going to need it. The technology to make it safer, you know, is just around the corner and being implemented in some places. And so we also have wind energy. So we have our windmills are being developed around. There's also subsurface I've forgotten the terminology for that. But on the ocean, there is wave energy. On the surface of the ocean, these energies too can be harvested to produce electricity. Inside the ocean too, there is water current. The current of the water too can be harnessed to produce energy. So almost everywhere we look, almost every element of nature has the potential to produce energy. But the technology is just catching up, and the world is preparing itself to start implementing these solutions. So I hope I've been clear so far and you guys understand me. I don't know if there is any question you would like to ask till now. I can take some questions and then continue. Any question, anybody? Okay, go ahead, Mr. Victor Odedumi. I'm not sure if it's a Mr. or Miss Victoria, Mrs. Victoria, rather. You want to say something?
Yes. Good day, sir.
Good day.
I want to briefly contribute on what you've said initially about the solution before I ask one or two things again. The causes of climate change, we mentioned poor waste disposal and burning of bushes. I can remember in those days when we were in secondary school, the government will bring tractor, they will plow the ground, and all those things, they will make ridge. But these days, to avoid bush burning, if the government can make tractors available for farmers, when the land is tilled and then they harrow it, they will leave the grass to decay before they make the ridge. But today, farmers will use manual hand to cut it and set it on fire because there is no how they can leave the weed for it to decay before they plant. So, and that's another way. If tractors can be made available like before, burning will be reduced because all these grass will be turned and they will decay to add manure to the ground. But these days, we rather destroy everything. We add to the carbon emission and the gases, the insects or the animals in the ground, they are also destroyed by the way we burn it. It pains me. I still burn because there is no how I can wait for the grass to decay. But if tractors are made available, I believe it will help in a long way for all farmers, for everybody, potential farmers and whatever. And my own case in this, why is it that we do not do the right thing when we are incapacitated in some ways? We want to do it, but there is no way how. No way for us to read. For instance, if I tell my students, you don't have to do this, you don't have to burn refuse. But when we are not sorting, the government is not helping us. When we sort, we put it down, nothing is done. It is not pursued. So we rather give up. So if there is a driving force on this thing, let every school or every teacher or every student, when we are doing it, encouraging our students. For instance, in my own school, I tell them, you don't on light during the day. You don't add to the global warming. Some of them adhere to it. They will take notice of it. So I think a continuous encouraging others and all this one, taking cognizance of these things. And I think that's the reason why things are not doing the right way, when we encourage ourselves to do it in the right way. Thank you for now.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ma. What you said right now just reminded me of loss of biodiversity. Thank you so much for your thoughts, but you did not ask any question, Sha. Yeah, so loss of biodiversity is also an huge issue that we have, and this is plagued by the agricultural sector. So today we believe we are very smart, and we have magic solution to all of our problems. We see our farmland and we want to clear the grass. We put herbicides and destroy everything. We see pests trying to eat our crops. We put pesticide and destroy everything. And this is affecting the food chain. So as we continue to do this and we destroy one particular species of insects, for example, we destroy all the houseflies or mosquitoes, that is going to affect other life forms. And that is also going to affect the tropical ecosystem, like the forest, the rainforest, and any environment which this overusage of chemicals can affect everything. If it affects the animal, it affects us. Yes, thank you so much. Anybody with a question? If not, we can just move on. All right, thank you. So let me just continue. So I've mentioned solutions within the space of energy and transportation, and also going to food. A lot of the food we eat are not nutritious enough. And this is because a lot of the nutrients in our soil has been lost. And then we are using a lot of synthetic chemicals to fertilize and to produce our crops. I will tell you, even in my case on my farm, yes, I still use some of these because other solutions are still expensive to practice, but I use it mindfully. And that is, I would say, what my knowledge in climate change has influenced me to do. So when we are trying to control any pest, we make sure we find it on time. And so we have to apply less chemical to deter the pest infestation that we have. So in food production, right now, everybody is in Lagos, living in our concrete streets, and our food is coming from Ekiti and coming from the north. We need to encourage ourselves to plant some vegetables around our home, put greenery in our environment. Please mute your mic, thank you. This one will produce food for us, and two, it would also help us recycle the carbon in our environment, because plants will breathe in carbon dioxide and breathe out oxygen. So when we plant around us, it can be vegetables. If you're very rich and you don't need food in your house, it can be flowers. It is important for us to put greenery around our living space. Very, very important. Yes. So let's now talk of how do we, or what are the solutions that are out there for us to remove carbon that has already been put out into the atmosphere. So I know everybody knows that planting trees is important. Yes, it is important for us to plant trees because they can help us sequester carbon. But at the same time, if for example, you are in the position to advise anybody to plant tree, let's always make sure that we create like a multi-plant forest. So if you do a monoplanting, if you plant just one tree everywhere, then that would affect diversity in that environment. One, it would also, your trees are also susceptible to diseases. So when the pest of mango sees thousands of mango to infest, it will just keep multiplying. So it is important that we select the right trees, indigenous trees, to the locations that we want, And even if you're doing this business for profit, we need to understand that as much as we are looking to make money, we should also be thinking of the environment and planting trees that we are not going to harvest. So that is one. Then there's also carbon capture. This is pure science. Systems have been produced to filter air and remove carbon from the air. That is another solution. Another solution is, for example, in the gas and oil and gas sector, instead of pumping out burning gas into the air, this gas can be immediately used to power generators, or the film the carbon that is coming from their plants will be directly sucked and stored underground. So these are examples of solutions that are currently being explored to extract carbon from the environment. So now let's even go down to students, go down to children. You know, what are the things that we can be discussing with them? How can we expose their mind to solutions in the climate industry? So first is having all of this conversation with your pupils. This is what is happening, that is what is happening. It makes sense that we do research on solutions to all these problems that we highlight. You know, and when you look at a small solution, you know, that is something that can be used as a practical to students. Say, for example, currently we burn charcoal to cook, right? A lot of people burn charcoal to cook. Thousands of trees are felled every day so that we can eat, right? So, and we have charcoal stoves. And a lot of the charcoal stoves out there are not efficient. They are wasting heat that is being produced by the charcoal. So a solution might be that, yes, we are burning, we are using trees to cook, but we can create better cookers that will reduce the amount of trees that we need to cut down. So looking at ideas of developing efficient charcoal stove, wood stove, you know, is a solution to reducing climate, to reducing carbon emission. You know, that is an example. Another example is waste processing. You know, it is very easy for us to get a house fly or black soldier fly, and you know, all the waste, for example, from the school canteen can be stored in a location where we produce the flies, and we feed them the waste. They eat the waste, and the larvae of the flies that we call maggots can be fed to animals. So looking for solutions that are easy to implement, that will be cost effective, to use as examples to show students, you know how to do things better. Because when we show people how things can be done, it inspires them to think on their own and do amazing things. In fact, I have seen videos of children, of young people in Nigeria do really, really amazing things, create good solutions like zero emission solutions. For example, there was a student in Enugu State that produced a water generator, a generator that is powered by water using perpetual motion to run itself. You know, so this kind of person, for example, now motivated himself to do this. But when we put effort into teaching our children, your students, you know, how to think towards the environment and solutions to create careers out of, you know, create opportunities out of, it would help them to think in that direction and do things that we would not even expect them to do. Yes, so I am, Thelma, is there any break? Do we have a break, or we just continue? I just wanted to know. Now I want to go into the slides, you know. I go through the slides and then we can have a conversation after that.
Okay, maybe Sheifa will have to answer that, because I think the last time you did this, there was like a short break.
Yes, there was.
Okay, so we can ask them we can ask Sheifa or ask them if we can go on. You know, we started late, so maybe we might not really.
The class is going to be ending by.
Yeah. So we should just go on. Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Sheifa, are you there?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Thelma.
Okay, I was asking her if we can just go ahead since we started late today. But I don't know, maybe network. Maybe you can just go on when she comes back.
I agree too, because we started late.
Yes. Okay, let's just go
that's
on.
good. That's good.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is a presentation that has been put together for us. Net Factory, thank you very much for putting this together in collaboration with Lagos State Access and Step Up Lagos. So the purpose of climate change education is to address and develop effective responses to climate change. It helps learners understand the cause and consequences of climate change, prepares them to live with the impact of climate change, and empower learners to take appropriate actions to adopt more sustainable lifestyle. Very, very key, a sustainable lifestyle. Today, if I ask my friend, bro, Alpha, what are you thinking for the future? I want to be rich, so I can buy 10 cars and build plenty houses. A lot of things we do as humans are not necessary. When we think about the impact to the environment, it might be necessary for us to change our lifestyle. Another example is, meat production produces a lot of methane that affects the atmosphere. So if we have a lifestyle of eating less meat, that can greatly also affect, how we are able to reduce greenhouse emission. So what is weather? Weather is the state of the atmosphere with respect to wind, temperature, cloudiness, moisture, pressure, etc. So in other words, weather is how the atmosphere is acting. Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it raining or super dry? Is the sun out or are there clouds? So what is climate? Climate is the composition or generally prevailing weather condition of a region as temperature, air pressure, humidity, precipitation, sunshine, cloudiness, and wind. Throughout the year, average over a series of years. This is generally understood to mean 30 years or more. I'll give an example of the heat wave. Please mute yourself, thank you. I'll give an example of the heat wave happening in Europe. So the past 5 heat waves that have happened, the first one that was recorded, it took 60 years or so for the next one to happen. And after that,
David, you can unmute.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Felicia. So the heat wave that was recorded, the first one, it took about 50 years before they recorded the second one. From the second one to the third one took about 20 years. From the third one to the fourth one took about 5 years. The recent one right now was just 3 years apart. So we can see the cumulative effect of climate change, happening to us, right, in the environment. We will think everything is fine right now, but in the next month, in the next 2 months, nobody knows what is going to happen, So the difference between weather and climate. While weather refers to short-term atmospheric condition, the temperature and the precipitation on a certain day. For example, climate refers to the average atmospheric condition that prevail in a given region over a period of time. While weather whether a place is generally cold and wet or hot and dry. Classification of climates on our planet. Although climate classification system vary, Earth's climates are often classified into 5 general types: tropical, dry, temperate, continental, and polar. Tropical climates are hot, humid, and extremely rainy. For example, the Amazon forest, Thailand, Nigeria, Congo, and other countries, you know. Then dry climates are desert-like, getting very little precipitation. Example, Arizona, Australian outback, and then the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Kuwait, other countries in that region as well. Temperature, climates have mild winters. Sorry, yeah, temperature should be like temperate. Temperature, temperate region, that's what I mean. So climates have mild winter and hot, wet, and often stormy summer. Example, a large part of the US, including much of the South, East, and Mid-West, New Zealand, parts of China, parts of India, and like that. Continental climate. Please mute yourself, thank you. Continental climates have warm or cool summers and cold, sometimes very cold winters. Example, some northern parts of the US, parts of Canada and Russia as well. So polar climates are cold all year round and extremely cold in the winter. Example is Antarctica, parts of Alaska, and parts of Siberia. So this was the example I was giving earlier about the ice cap that is melting. And if it should melt, it's going to mean grave danger to cities along the coastline around the world. Sorry, guys. Yeah. Evaluation. Students should be assessed by answering the following question. What is weather? What is climate? Just like we've read. So this is an example of how you guys will take classes after, you know, giving them information on these topics, then you can evaluate them and give classwork as well. So lesson 2, what is climate change? Climate change refers to long-time shifts in temperature and weather patterns. This shift may be natural, such as through variation in the solar cycle. But since the 1800s, human activities have been the main driver of climate change, primarily due to burning fossil fuel like coal, oil, and gas. Burning fossil fuel generates greenhouse gas emission that acts like a blanket wrapped around the earth, trapping the sun's heat and rising temperature. So everything we've been saying is climate change. One of the natural ways climate change can occur are volcanic eruptions. When volcanoes erupt, did I click on anything here? When volcanoes erupt, sorry, when volcanoes
Please, if you erupt, are touching your screen, kindly stop. Sorry for the interruption. Please, if you're touching your screen, just stop. I think that's what is causing those marks.
Okay, yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
I noticed that too. Thank you. Yes, so so as I was saying, when volcanoes erupt, you know, it puts out smoke into the atmosphere, and if there is enough of this in the atmosphere, it can block the sun entirely and create an ice age everywhere. So this is an example of climate change that is natural. There are also natural ways climates can change, but the one we are discussing about is the one that is man-made, because we are in control of that. Yes. So burning of fossil fuels traps heat into our planet and makes everything warmer. You know, example of greenhouse gas emissions that are causing climate change: carbon dioxide and methane. This comes from using gasoline for driving a car or coal for heating a building, for example. Also, methane comes from large animal farms, from the dung of the animal. So land clearing too is an effect. We clear land for everything. We clear land for farming. We clear land for buildings and factories. We cut down trees for various activities as well. These are things that are essential to our livelihood, but we are overdoing it, and we are not planting new trees. So landfills for garbage are a major source of methane emission. The energy industries, transport, building, agriculture, land use are amongst the main emitters. Animal dung produce methane, which is a source of methane emission as well. Climate change and droughts. I have explained this. There is a lot happening in Nigeria. Lake Chad has shrunk to almost a third of its original size. This is causing a lot of farming in that region. So there is drought in Nigeria too. We are not immune to climate change. These things are happening in our country as well. Climate change has further altered the natural pattern of droughts, making them more frequent, longer, and more severe. About 11 out of the 30 states of the country fall into the desert-prone zone. These frontline states are Adamawa, Borno, Bauchi, Gombe, Jigawa, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, Sokoto, Yobe, and Zamfara. The impacts of droughts are extremely serious and often dramatic for the most vulnerable group of women and children, because during emergency, men leave them behind and migrate to the cities in search of support. Women are faced with the responsibility of providing water, energy, food, and rearing domestic animals. So these are situations people are experiencing currently in Nigeria. In fact, it's so bad in some areas that people drink water when rain falls, the brown water that we will step on and say that's dirty. That is what some people are drinking. Yeah. Please mute yourself. Thank you. Climate change and flood. There are flooding activities happening in our country too. Was it last year or this year? It was last year during December. The whole of Anambra State most of Anambra State was covered in water. It affected roads. Tankers could not get to their destination, caused fuel scarcity, and a lot of things. When nature strikes, it disrupts our activities, and we cannot take nature to court. So we are in a very, very serious one. The effect of climate change are, I'm not saying this part very well because of the back. Okay, let me see if I can move this. Okay. The effects of climate change are stark in Nigeria, and it includes frequent massive floods. Yes, and there's also landslide. Landslide is happening in Nigeria. So these are examples of flooding activities, flooding in Nigeria. In 2012, rivers burst their banks and submerged vast land in 30 of the 36 states in the country, killing over 400 people and displacing 1.3 million others. In 2019, a total of 277,555 people were affected by flood and 158 were killed. In 2020, the number of people affected by flood rose to 2.3 million, resulting in the death of 69 people and on and on and on and like that. So and this is to show that this is happening here. The fact that we have not experienced it yet does not mean we are immune to it. Causes of flooding in Nigeria. We have poor infrastructure of road and poor or non-existent drainage system, poor waste management, unregulated urban expansion, lacks implementation of planning laws. Other impacts of climate change in Nigeria: food prices, very, very, very big. These floodings that are happening, for example, we should remember that this water is covering up farmlands as well. So all of the food there, all of the livestock there, gone. So this directly creates famine. Food crisis, periodic droughts and flooding in Nigeria has had an adverse impact on agricultural output and increased the vulnerability of populations, especially in rural areas. The food security situation is impacted by many factors, such as insecurity due to ongoing conflicts, rising food price, and climate change. It is predicted that in 20 years, 40% less food is expected to be produced for 9.3 billion people. So that is imagining a world where you have money and you don't even have food to buy. You know, that is chaos. That is chaos. Climate change affects the global food system in such a way that those who already suffer from hunger and undernutrition are those most vulnerable to losing more as the climate crisis continues. Water scarcity. Depleting soil or land can not absorb and regulate water flow. I like this example. So when we talk about flooding in Lagos, for example, because it's something we experience a lot. There was a time I was in Lekki and my car went bad because I entered the side water. That day I regretted I tried doing that at all. So what is happening? Let's look at it. If you go into the forest, there is the green cover, the trees and the flowers and everything. And then there's the topsoil, which is made up of clay and sand, right, and humus. So when rain falls down, the topsoil absorbs the water and pushes it down into other layers of the soil. That water would eventually get itself into our aquifers, rivers, and reservoir underground. That makes water available for us. But in an example like Lagos now, everywhere we have put road, and that road is impermeable surface for water. Water cannot pass through it. The gutter, the drainage that is supposed to now carry the water is blocked. Inside our compounds, everybody have put cement and we've tied everything. So that is why we are more susceptible to flooding in cities. And for rural community, because the soil has been exposed, there is no green cover anymore. There is erosion. Erosion will clean off the topsoil. Now, when it rains, the soil is unable to process that water that is coming down, and this turns to water scarcity. This creates droughts. Loss of biodiversity. I've mentioned this earlier as well. As we do all of these things, we are affecting the lives of animals, and we depend on these animals as well because it is a cycle. It is an ecosystem of one species of mammal or insects, or even down to microorganism will feed on the next to survive, the web of life. And if we continue in this way, we can break that chain and might have devastating consequences to our race. So scientists say that around 27,000 species of life form are becoming extinct every year due to loss of habitat, home or area for life forms to survive and reproduce. As we cut down more and more of our forests, we are also taking away the homes of other organisms, insects, and animals. This crisis has reached a point where 80% of the insects are all gone. The loss of livelihood. Climate change threatens the cleanness of our air, depletes water source, and limits food supply. It affects livelihoods, forces families from their homes, and push people into poverty. Thousands of farmers, fishermen, herdsmen, just to mention a few, people have lost their source of livelihood due to climate change. Even a lot of these conflicts that we're experiencing, herdsmen are everywhere, going into the farm, cows are eating people's farms up, is because where they originally were, climate change has destroyed it, and they just have to survive, you know? Conflicts and migration, exactly. So land issues have played a significant role in conflicts in Nigeria, e.g. fights happening between herdsmen and farmers in the north. People are migrating every day because their sources of livelihood are lost due to climate change effects, such as erosion, drought, floods, and all that we've been mentioning. So evaluation, classwork, topic. Then the next slide, next lesson, rather. So what is global warming? Global warming is the increase in the Earth's average temperature. Global warming is caused mainly by the rise in greenhouse gas from human activity and the land use change from deforestation and farming rather. So global warming is now this climate change that we are saying now, which, you know, different regions of the earth has different climates, and it is changing. Now, all of that happening at the same time, and the carbon we are putting into the air, the methane we are putting into the air, is now what, you know, is creating global warming. And that means that the heat coming into our planet, normally a lot of it is being reflected by the cloud, right, by our atmosphere. But that system of atmosphere that keeps us, you know, cool is now being interrupted by our own emissions, and then therefore creating more warmth in the planet. Global warming has presented another issue called climate change. Sometimes these phrases are used interchangeably. However, they are different. Climate change refers to change in weather pattern and growing seasons around the world. It also refers to sea level rise caused by expansion of warming sea and melting ice sheets and glaciers. Global warming causes climate change, which pose a serious threat to life on Earth in form of widespread flooding and extreme weather. What are the causes of global warming? Global warming occurs when carbon dioxide, CO2, and other air pollutants collect in the atmosphere and absorb sunlight and solar radiation that have bounced off the Earth's surface. Normally, this radiation would escape into space, but these pollutants, which can last for years to centuries in the atmosphere, trap the heat and causes the planet to get hotter. These heat-trapping pollutants, specifically carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, water vapor, and synthetic fluorinated gases, are known as greenhouse gases, and their impact is called the greenhouse effect. So the top 10 causes of global warming are the use of fossil fuel like oil and gas, deforestation, human waste as a result of amount of packaging used, and the short life cycle of products. That is a huge one. When we go to markets, we are always buying nylon. Anybody that knows me knows that whenever I go somewhere to buy something, if you want to give me nylon, if it's something I can easily carry, I'll say, no, keep the nylon. In fact, most times I would prefer to even take a bag from my house and take to the market. This is just conscious behavior of saying, I don't need to have this. We don't need to keep creating waste. For example, a few years ago, Kenya banned the use of packaging, nylon packaging. It is all paper bags. If you are going shopping, you're using paper bags. If you are packaging anything, you're using paper bags. Those are the kind of things that we are supposed to implement in our own country too. Although it has not been done yet, does not mean it cannot be done. That is why we need to be doing what we are doing right now and, educate more and more of our people. So oil drilling, transportation and vehicles, overconsumption, buying everything, what we need, what we don't need, we are always buying, industrial farming, industrialization, and overfishing. This overfishing was what I mentioned as an example of the fish meal that we are using to produce feed for animals. First, we are getting fish for ourselves to eat directly, right? And those are the big size fishes. Now, even the small ones that are supposed to go and turn to the big ones for us, we are also taking them to feed our animals. So it is honestly, it is very severe. In fact, I don't understand why we all just normalize all this problem that we have in this world. So what can we do? What can we do? While we can't win the fight without large-scale government action at the national level, we also can't do it without the help of individuals who are willing to use their voice, hold government and industry leaders to account, and make changes in their daily habits. So I'm wondering how you can be a part of the fight against global warming, reduce your own carbon footprint by taking a few easy steps. Use less water. This is an example for example, when you're washing your plates or when you're doing something in the kitchen and then you just turn on the tap down, or even the plate you're trying to rinse. If you reduce the flow rate of the water, you will still be able to clean the plates well. But because we want everything to be fast, we just on it and be washing and everything, and we're wasting water. Water that some people are looking for in another part of the world. So drink tap water instead of bottled water, or use a dispenser and bring your reusable water bottle along. Yes, drinking tap water. Before pure water came and bottled water, it's tap water everybody was drinking. And now it's like, it's only people that don't have money that are drinking tap water. I mean, I drink tap water. That's what I drink. So use less paper. We are in a digital age. Right now, this presentation is on my device. And in other cases, people might want to print and pass it around to everybody and send everybody paper to be reading. So let's use less paper, because papers are produced from trees and we are cutting down trees to produce those papers. So cut down on single-use plastic products. Single-use plastic products, our disposable cups, the produce, since we buy from supermarkets, that once we use it, we just discard it. We can try to reduce that. We can communicate to our students to try to reduce that, or they communicate to their parents, since they are the ones that have the purchasing power. So what are the things you can even do in this light? You can always have your own jar at home, your own glass jar, you know, I wouldn't say I'm doing this, but it is something to do, you know, so you can always store anything that you know that they will give you plastic. Instead of you taking plastic, you can take refill bags too as well, and then go and turn it into your jars, yes, exactly. So walk and bike more often, because cars are one of the biggest sources of greenhouse gas emission. That's what will be hard, you know, but we should try and do that. And please be careful on Nigerian roads when you are cycling. So plant a tree. A single tree will absorb 1 ton of carbon dioxide over its lifetime. Tree planting is one of our fight against climate change. And that is definitely something that is so easy for anybody to do, you know. Ask your parents to switch to LED light bulbs. Yes, using LED light bulbs saves energy. So that is important. In fact, they can even go ahead and switch to motion sensor active light. So it's when you're passing through, the light comes on. When you are not there anymore, the light goes off. So those are ways to save energy as well. Eat less meat and dairy. The meat and dairy industry creates a lot more pollution than people realize. In fact, livestock accounts for about half of the world's greenhouse gas emission. Talk to friends and family. Spread the word so everyone can do their part to help the planet. 3 R's. Incorporate the principle of reduce waste, reuse, and recycle products in your daily lives. Read up articles and follow the news on climate change issues in your environment. Share information about global warming on social media. Start a recycling program at your school. Exactly. So if think of solutions that are easy to implement and use that as practical for your students. Pollution and overconsumption. As we have mentioned earlier, pollution and overconsumption are 2 of the main human activities that contribute greatly to global warming. In this segment, we would explore them in further detail. So what is pollution? Pollution is the introduction of harmful materials into the environment. These harmful materials are called pollutants. Pollutants can be introduced naturally. An example of natural pollutants is volcanic ash. Exactly. So volcano, I also mentioned, is a process that can cause climate change, you know, on its own, and it also pollutes the environment. You know, they can also be created by human activities such as trash and runoff produced by factories. Yes, runoff is the waste that comes out of factories. So most factories will have gray water, you know, water they've used to process in their factory, and then they just dump it out. You know, that is a huge pollutant, you know. And normally all these factories are supposed to have water treatment within their factories before releasing the water into the environment. So pollutants damage the quality of air, water, and land. Pollution is mostly caused by the individual actions, commercial waste, and hazardous industrial residual. There are different types of pollution, and they are listed in the following slide. Types of pollution: there is water pollution. I think we all know what that is. There is land pollution, landfills. We know what that is as well. And then there's air pollution. So air pollution, this is pollution from burning of refuse from our exhaust too as well, and other sources. So many human activities lead to pollution and destruction of natural habitats. In fact, it's not even just many. Almost all our activities are designed to destroy the planet. We are the cancer of the world, we human beings. We are just eating her up. Overpopulation and overconsumption, yes. You know, for, please pardon my bias, for those that are Christian, God said, go into the world and multiply. I think he should have put a clause on it and tell us where we should stop that multiplication, because that is putting a stress on the world, on the earth. Overpopulation is a big issue. So the thing we buy and the activities we do contributes to greenhouse gas emissions. The higher the consumption, the higher the emission associated with our lifestyle that aggravates other environmental issues. Says Garcia, a PhD student at the Center of Regional Economic and Social Research at Sheffield University. Well, a lot of people are saying that too. Overproduction and overconsumption contributes to global warming. So this even leads back to the idea of money. Money is our biggest issue, you know, because companies want to make money, because governments want to keep growing the economy, they have created consumers. They have created people that are just alive to consume. Consume information, consume food, consume clothes, consume music, consume all forms of resources that are affecting our lifestyle and affecting the planet. How overproduction and overconsumption contributes to global warming? Overproduction and overconsumption add to the already high level of pollution and toxic gases that contributes to global warming. Buying a lot of things make industries produce more and thereby polluting more. Destroying natural habitats leads to a lot of death of animals and plants. When they die, they decompose. Decomposition releases a lot of carbon dioxide and methane into the atmosphere. The link between population growth and climate change. With 2 billion people to be added to our human ranks by 2050 and an additional 1 billion more by 2000 and 2000.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, yes.
Sorry to cut you.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I do not seem to enjoy this session. It's not interactive enough.
Yes, once I am done with this presentation, then we go back to an interactive session where we all talk about everything. Yes.
Huh? That's when I'm done with the presentation. Session?
Yes.
Okay. I thought it's meant to be like a flow. While you talk, the chat section.
Did you start with us from the beginning?
No, I just joined. Perhaps that's why.
Exactly. So just hang on. Yeah. It is it's what you're paying for being late. Yes. All right. Thank you. Yeah. So so let me just try and also speed up this slides because we can all go through it and we have access to it. So there's stress on population causes stress. We know that, already. So multiple factors contributing to climate change and multiple actions are needed to address it. The number of people on our planet is one of those factors. Every additional person increases carbon emission. The rich far more than the poor and increases the number of climate change victims. The poor far more than the rich. So reducing the number of living people, people should give birth less. And I think, our generation are already behaving like that, because of the economic crisis, people are having less children. That's some benefits. Population growth must be addressed in all countries to tackle climate change. Yes, definitely. China did a one-child policy at the time, and and that has really helped them. Now they are trying to also change that policy. So next is, what is environmental sustainability? Environmental sustainability is the responsibility to conserve natural resources and protect global ecosystem to support health and well-being. Now and in the future, because so many decisions that impact the environment are not felt immediately, the key element of environmental sustainability is its forward-looking nature. In fact, the US Environmental Protection Agency and the United Nations defines it as meeting today's needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. Fantastic. So acting sustainably is just thinking about the future. We are not only thinking about now. It is not only about money we want to make now. It is also about the future. It's about being mindful of the resources we use. So, and you know, that's, let me even check what the time is right now. Oh, it's almost done. So I think we are about at the end of the slide itself. And then we can just wrap it up. So class summary is the last one, and that's the end of the presentation. So thank you guys for being with me and for also being part of the boring session I've been taking since morning. So now the floor is open. Let's ask questions, you know, let's give suggestions. Let's know what you understand, you know, from this class. You know, I'd like to hear from you guys. Please, when you're speaking, everybody will be muted. When you stop speaking, just mute yourself. That will make us use time effectively. Thank you. So anybody want to go? Anybody want to speak?
Yeah, sorry, before questions, Sharifa, is there any announcement you like to quickly make, or I don't know, just a reminder?
Okay, I wanted them to go before, but you know what, let me just do that now so that as we prepare for the article. Okay, so as part of this program,
hello, who's speaking? I
Can
can't
you
hear
guys
you.
mute your mic? It's yeah.
Let me go for the option. Hello.
I'm fine, I'm looking for. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay, so as part, I'm so sorry, my blackness is taking effect.
Your network is poor, Sharifa.
Oh, wait 1 second.
Your network is poor.
1 second.
I'm going to find you.
Maybe you should take the questions because of time.
All right, so any question, anybody, any contribution? Let's speak. Somebody already said
How
it's not
about now? Can you
interactive.
hear me?
Okay, go ahead.
Is it better now?
Yeah, speak so we'll know.
Okay, so as part of the training, right, for the students, we require a few things. So for the 100 students that are taking, there should be like a representative, not someone you can just like a class monitor,
Can you hear her? Can you hear? Let's
not
make
well.
We can't, we can't hear what she's saying.
Okay, Sharifa, they said they can't hear you.
We can't hear you, ma.
You can't hear me.
Please, can you talk? Can you send message to the platform?
Can you hear me?
No, I think you have network issue there. It's not clear.
Please, can she send the message to the WhatsApp?
Okay, should we go on with questions so that time we can wrap up?
Yes,
and
yes.
yeah.
Yes. So nobody have questions. So that means everybody understood my class.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, am I allowed to speak now?
Yeah, go ahead.
on.
Go ahead.
I wouldn't know if my
We are
connection
waiting
is
to hear
very
from you.
clear and loud.
We can hear
Yeah,
you.
we can hear you very clear.
I'm asking if you can hear me.
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So I joined this session late, though I already said that I won't be a part of the first session because of my schedule, that I'll be joining the second session, but I got to finish up what I was doing earlier. So I decided to join in.
He's asking me if water is bro. Have you seen fish? Is it full?
I wanted to, when he came one time.
Let me go and meet him.
So it was one.
So I
Hello,
did something.
who is
Okay,
speaking?
there's no network.
Please
Yeah, sorry. I just
mute yourself. You're not speaking, please.
Mr. David, I'm not a host, so can you mute all for us?
Sorry,
please?
can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So I was trying to sort out the network issue, but you can hear me clearly now.
Yeah,
Yes.
better.
Oh, okay. So sorry for that.
Yes, we can hear you.
It's been a crazy morning. Okay, so as part of the training, right, we're going to be having, for the 100 students that you'll be teaching, we're going to have something like a class monitor for each class. So it's just like, people that will be responsible for the students, like the students, so there will be a male and a female. It has to be both gender, so an assistant and a president, right? You can call it that, or
Mute your
oh
mic.
my God, I'm so sorry. I think it's my background actually.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to have that, and secondly, we would like, because the last time we did this program, we were trying to get attendance, but the pictures that were being sent were kind of blurry. And so our sponsors reached out and they want attendance of the students for the program as part of the evaluation. So it's not like we are telling them that we trained 100 students, but there is no proof of them training 100 students. And if you can help us, it would be nice to have a video recording of the section. It's not long, just a minute, 30 seconds video, and pictures of the training as well. And sorry, someone's, let me mute that. Okay. Yes, that as well. Then there's one last thing. I'm so sorry. Okay, so I pretty much that's it for now. Okay, yes, for the essay competition, right? There will also be something like video, or some students can write poems. Some can do a video, like just talk about climate change in a video recording, and that can be uploaded as well. Song. So I would write I'll write something about that and send on the group as well. But I just wanted to inform everybody on here personally so that you can get the environment. So what the things we'll be expecting from you are a president and an assistant, or a class monitor and an assistant for the 100 students, someone that will present them. Then attendance. So the attendance can just bear a column of their names, the class, and the gender of the students. They just fill that for the classes. Then you guys can send us pictures of it. Just take a picture of it on your phone and just send it. Then a 30 seconds to 1 minute video of their training sections, pictures of the training sections. And yes, so we'll be carrying out activities like tree planting and recycling in some schools, but we've not actually been able to put that down. So I would just like to ask a favor. I know not all schools in Lagos have space to plant trees, right? So when after this training, after the second session, if your compound, your school has space enough that can actually take a tree, I would just like you to just signify. Don't worry, we'll reach out to the principal and get the other parts sorted out. But I just need to know if your school has space that can take an activity like tree planting. For those that don't have tree planting spaces, we can go with recycling for them. And that will make us come to the school personally. So yes, that's just about what we're giving for education. So please, it's okay. You can just go back to the interactive part. I will drop the attendance and the second M&E form shortly. Thank you so much for your patience.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's talk, people. We have another, say, 10 minutes or so to go. So talk to me. What do you think about this session? You know, what do you have any question?
Good afternoon.
Can I talk?
Good afternoon, Mr. Damilola. Good
Yeah,
afternoon,
good
Mr.
afternoon,
Damilola.
ma'am. Good afternoon,
This is
ma'am.
Mrs. Olugbode, but it's a showing of Kiasi 20. My name is Olugbode. I'm from Luwasa Senior High School, Jede. I don't know
You're
why
welcome,
my name
ma'am.
is not showing. I quite enjoyed
Okay.
the lecture. Though towards the end of the lecture, you were sharing some slides, and the slides, you couldn't see the things very well. They were so tiny. I would have loved to jot some things from there, but I couldn't see it very well.
You will
Then the
have it.
lecture
It will be
was
shared with you.
the lecture was somehow boring towards the end. When we started the class, possibly you pause a while, we discuss, then you start another slide, you pause a while, we discuss. Like that should be an interactive class.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for the feedback. Yeah.
Thank you.
But the material will be shared with you, so you can have it. This will be shared on the group as well. Someone already asked me that question here as well.
Okay, thank you.
Can I talk? Can I go ahead?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, Mrs. Bankole Felicia. I really appreciate your presentation. Thank you very much. It's just like a reminder of things we already know, and reminding us will help us share it the more with our students.
Exactly.
When we get
Yes.
there is something I want to point out too. I noticed that the conference on climate change organized by the United Nations, COP, either 24,
yes.
25.
Yeah, COP 16,
I don't know.
something like that.
I don't know if secondary school teachers in public schools are involved. If no is the answer, then I believe that we are being shortchanged. Why do I say this? The teachers who teach geography are very close to these children. And in fact, if you want to tell them anything on climate change, we're in the best position to let them know. But a situation where a program of this magnitude is held and teachers are not included, I feel so sorry for teachers. Probably they politicize everything. Maybe those in the offices who do not really have access to these children are often invited. But I've never had maybe a teacher in District 2 or any of the districts attending this program. Is there any way that teachers can also be involved? For example, the one that will be held this year will be held in UAE around November 30th to December 12th. Is there a way that we can have representatives among the teachers that can be in attendance? Even students too, maybe one or two can join. So that's the recommendation for my own part. So if there's a way you can help us tell the management, I think we'll be happy.
Thank you very much, ma. Thank you for your question and your feedback as well. First is, I do not think that there is a type of people that is not allowed to go for those events or seminars, but those events as well cost money. So from the point of view of Nigerian people that are representing Nigeria, I do not think that our governments care about getting teachers or anybody to go and do that except themselves. But this, for example, this program that we are doing right now is an example of trying to get teachers involved, because we understand that teachers matter, you know. So this might be the action that we can take as an organization for now, but that doesn't mean that this is where it's going to stop. So I give you an example. If over the course of this course, you have been able to take your students and teach them about climate change, we can do an activity and say every student from every school should write to the governor of Lagos State to request for something or to try and implement something. So there are different kind of actions that we can take, you know, and that is why we are here. You know, and from the point of view of having representatives at the COP conferences, virtually anybody that is concerned can go, because even if you cannot, if there isn't enough space to enter into the main hall, people are always around more in that environment. I have had friends that have visited, you know, and so that is my answer for that. Thank you very much. All right, any other question? Well, if there are no questions, I want to believe that, you know, we understand, you know, the things we've discussed, and also our responsibility to train the future Nigerians, you know, and also we understand the importance of our role as educators in this light. Climate change is real, it is serious, it is happening in our country, it is happening where you are, even if if you don't notice it, and we need to act. As part of the action is what we are doing now, is what Next Factory is putting together to try and inform more people about the reality of our existence. You know, so thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. I hope my class was not boring and I was able to refresh your memory on this topic. Yes.
Okay, everyone. So I don't know. I thought, like, after we said
hello?
It's really noisy.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. They are trying to trace where water is leaking in the whole compound, so it's
I'm going to find you, Fesha. All right, so me, I am out of juice at the moment, except there's any question. I think we have come to the end of this session.
Okay, guys, so I thought, like, I know we had an interactive section the last time. I mean, this is not the first training we've done, and those teachers actually really did engage, right? I mean, even right after the training, you know, they came up and they talked about the climate change, implementation in their schools, things that students are doing. Is there not a single thing from your district, from all these teachers I'm seeing here, is there nothing at all?
No, maybe they are very smart now, very intelligent, so they already know how it's going, you know. That might be my excuse for them.
Okay, in that case,
well, do they have questions for the program? Do they have any questions for you? Maybe not for
that's what I'm asking, right? So, okay.
Do you guys have questions for her for the program? Is there any question as a teacher that you want to ask?
Okay, Oluwatosin asked if the 100 students be among students already in the environmental peace club. Okay, so I don't know how you guys take the students, if we just want a particular set of students. I mean, we're leaving that part up to the school, right, to decide that. Then, so, but we know that we have to, it would be nice actually if it's a combination of both senior and junior secondary, right? Or okay, most of the schools are junior, senior separate. I mean, combination of classes. That would be nice. Okay. Yeah, the curriculum will be shared. Curriculum will definitely the slides
Yeah,
will be
so
shared.
thank you, everybody. I will be exiting now. I'll be leaving this call. Thank you for your participation, and I hope we'll get the best out of this situation. Thank you, guys. Bye.
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 All right, bye, everyone. Have a great weekend.
And you too.
You guys are leaving. How will I know where to send your data to? I was about
Okay,
sharing that form.
that data is very, very important too.
Exactly. Please go
Very,
back.
very important.
Please. Someone drop a message on the
that exhausted my data.
Someone drop I need a picture. Okay.
Share.
I will share the date. Let me get the people that have gone to come back into the class. Please, 1 second. Let me tell them on WhatsApp.
I'm CEO.
I want to paste the link. This is the attendance. This is the link you put so that I will know those that were in class. So please just fill this.